My name's Rick. I'm a 42-year-old trucker from Arizona, and I've seen a lot of strange things out on the road, but nothing quite like what happened that night in the desert. It's the kind of experience that sticks with you, makes you question everything. Let me tell you about the midnight encounter. It was a hot July night, and I was hauling a load from Phoenix to Flagstaff. The desert stretches out forever on either side of the highway, just endless miles of nothing. It was around midnight when I spotted her, a woman standing on the side of the road, frantically waving her arms. My first thought was, who in their right mind would be out here at this hour? I slowed down, debating whether to stop. Common sense told me to keep going, but something made me pull over. As I got closer, I could see she was in a state. Hair disheveled, clothes torn. I rolled down the window and asked, "Are you all right, ma'am?" "My car broke down," she said, her voice shaky. "Can you give me a ride?" I hesitated. It didn't feel right, but leaving her there alone didn't sit well with me either. "All right, hop in," I said, unlocking the passenger door. She climbed in, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As we drove, she introduced herself as Lisa. She said she'd been on her way to visit family when her car died. I asked, "Where's your car?" "Back there a few miles," she said, waving a hand vaguely behind us. I glanced in the rearview mirror, but I hadn't seen any sign of vehicle. The desert was empty, just darkness and the occasional tumbleweed. We drove in silence for a while. Lisa kept checking her phone, glancing out the window like she was expecting someone. I tried to make conversation, but she was distracted, giving short answers and looking nervous. "Everything all right?" I asked. "Yeah, just a bit shaken up," she replied. But her eyes told a different story. There was fear in them, a kind of raw panic that set my nerves on edge. Then, in the distance, I saw headlights. A car was approaching from behind, moving fast. It caught up to us quickly, and as it got closer, it started flashing its lights. I could see Lisa's face in the dim light of the cab. She was terrified. "What's going on?" I demanded. "Please, you have to speed up," she begged. "Don't let them catch us." My heart pounded. "Who's them?" I asked, but she didn't answer. Instead, she kept looking back, her hands clutching her phone so tight her knuckles were white. I pressed the gas pedal, trying to put some distance between us and the car. It was an old sedan, beat up and dirty. The driver was relentless, staying on our tail, lights flashing. "Are you in some kind of trouble?" I asked, louder this time. "Just drive," she screamed. My truck isn't built for speed, but I pushed it as hard as I could. We barreled down the highway, the car still behind us. I saw an exit sign for a small town up ahead and took it, hoping to lose them in the streets. We zigzagged through the deserted town, but the car stayed with us, relentless. Finally, I saw a police station and made a beeline for it. I skidded to a stop in front of the building, and before I could say anything, Lisa threw open the door and bolted. She ran into the darkness, disappearing before I could even react. I stumbled out of the truck, my heart racing, and ran inside the station. The officers on duty looked at me like I was crazy when I told them what happened. They took my statement and promised to look into it, but I could tell they didn't believe me. A few days later, I got a call from the police. They'd found Lisa. She was part of a drug trafficking ring, using unsuspecting truckers to evade capture. The car chasing us. It was her accomplices trying to get their package back. I couldn't believe it. I'd almost been caught up in something way over my head. That night taught me a valuable lesson. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And sometimes, the desert isn't the only thing that's empty and dangerous out there. Every time I drive that stretch of road now, I think about Lisa and what could have happened. It's a reminder that you never really know what you're getting into when you stop to help a stranger. And out here, in the vast, lonely expanse of the desert, sometimes it's better to just keep driving.